Hi YouTube! Welcome to the final video in this series of exporting my dog from Canada to Australia. I really wish the title of this was clickbait, but unfortunately it is not. It feels really good to say that this journey is complete and we can finally relax and actually enjoy our time in Australia, which we are very much. I think this is one of the most anticipated videos out of the whole journey, which is the topic of cost. I think cost is one of the biggest or the biggest reason why people are hesitant to make the journey from Canada to Australia with their pet. I think most people can agree that when you initially started looking into this process and you started noticing how much it was costing, you really started to doubt yourself if this was the best choice. I can confidently say now, after being in Australia for 4 months now with my dog, that it is 100% the right choice. And this is just my experience. I know that everyone's situations and scenarios are a bit different, obviously with being able to afford it and the type of stress that your pet can handle as well. So I'll stop yammering because I know everyone is waiting to hear the breakdown of how much this entire process costed me. To summarize, I exported my dog from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada to Australia in the year 2023. He is a 7-year-old 20-pound American Eskimo cross. All my vet appointments were completed at Rutland Pet Hospital in Kelowna, BC, and I went to the Vernon Food Inspection Agency to do all the endorsements. And I used CASA Fairview Canines as my pet exporter. Everything that I mentioned in this video will also be in Canadian dollars. So without further ado, I tried to arrange this all in chronological order. The first cost for this was his rabies booster shot with an exam, which was $88. Next, I had to get him microchipped because he was not microchipped before I started this process. That was surprisingly cheap at $50. I'm not sure why I thought that was going to be more. Then the next step after you do microchip is the RNA-TT test, which was $300. The special IATA approved kennel was $225.10, and then the 2 bowls to sit in there for his water were $31.48. I believe I went with the PetMate Sky Kennel. To get his RNA-TT endorsed by the CFIA was $32.27. The import permit was $446.66. The initial post-entry quarantine fee to apply for his space was $27.10. This is where the largest chunk of money went to for this entire process, which was the pet exporter costs. Keep in mind, this included his layover costs as well as his flight costs. This was $6,600. To confirm, his post-entry quarantine spot was $1,456.48. And now we get into more of the vaccines and vet appointments to prepare him for his journey. So at his first vet appointment, which included his first external parasite treatment and his first canine influenza vaccine, was $120.65. Bear in mind too that if you go the route where you don't do the vaccines and you do the testing, this price might differ for you because I'm not sure how much it was to test for the canine influenza. The second vet appointment was the biggest one in terms of cost-wise. At this one, he had his second external parasite treatment, his first internal parasite treatment, his second canine influenza vaccine, and then 2 blood tests, one for leishmania and one for leptospira. Altogether, this came to $703.20. I will break down what part of that $700 was for each item there. The third and final vet appointment was his second internal parasite treatment, his final exam with the vet, and then they also charge you to fill out the health certificate. Total was $130.05. Again, I'll do a breakdown here of the items. The Food Inspection Agency endorsement of the final paperwork was $21.52. And then to do his post-entry quarantine release was $225.80. Bear in mind also, only $151.80 is the actual release fee, but I had a non-compliance issue, which I talk about in a previous video, which I will link here, but I was charged an extra $74 to rectify that situation. Not everyone, and hopefully you will not have that fee. Also wanted to note, I thought that they charged extra for release dates on the weekend, which they do not. They might charge extra for holidays though. So, were you counting? The total cost of exporting my dog from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada to Australia, grand total, $10,458.31. Not to mention the stress tax. I feel like this definitely shaved a couple years off my life, but I honestly feel like I did make the best decision for me and for my dog. Again, I understand that not everyone can front this really big bill. I actually set up a separate savings account at the beginning of this whole process, and I calculated out how much per month that I would need to save in order to afford everything at the end of it. So I actually had a separate account that I was able to use to pay for all of the bills. I highly recommend doing this because it makes the big cost items seem a little bit less of a burden because you have a separate account that you're actually pulling that money from. I hope to continue to post on this YouTube account of our adventures here in Australia. Again, I really hope that this series has helped some people deal with the stress and the overwhelming cost of this entire process. I try to reply to every comment on these videos, so please feel free to drop a comment if you have any questions. You can also follow me on Instagram at lexi.kalena. I will also post that somewhere on the screen here. I post a lot of my dog on my Instagram as well, so if you care to follow along, please feel free to follow me there. And I just want everyone to know, if you are in the middle of this process, you will get through it, I promise. Just take a deep breath and think about how great it'll be on the other side. Good luck and thank you for watching.